the new leadership that takes over from today will make some obvious changes immediately. The trains have been deep cleaned, Sunday services are going to start rerunning, things like that. But it will take time, and it is important people know that things won't change overnight. But I'm asking the new leadership to, in 100 days, give me a plan of all the things which will make the big significant changes. I want to get the service running much more smoothly, and one of the things which has been bad have been poor industrial relations. We've had problems with track and with train. Some of those things we can tackle quickly. Other things will take longer. There's a lot of investment. We're promising billions of pounds into this railway. So there is big infrastructure improvement, for example, going on. What I want to see is that plan within 100 days so that we can come back to people and say, this is the plan, this is how we're going to improve your railway. Actually, interestingly, for once, money's really not so much the issue. It's coordination. It's working out how you take what is now an incredibly congested railway built for far fewer people than travel on it today, and actually make that work for people. It's worth mentioning, for example, since privatisation a couple of decades ago, the number of people travelling has doubled, the number of journeys have travelled, the number of miles travelled has doubled, and all of that, of course, has led to congestion. And when there is a problem, that has a knock-on impact over the whole network, and it's trying to build enough capacity to deal with those things that matters. Part of the problem have been the rails themselves, the infrastructure, part's been late delivery of trains, but there's also been, I think, a management issue as well, and the management is the thing which changes today, and I hope people start to see some improvements, but I appreciate that people are going to need to be patient, and I know passengers recognise it's not a magic solution.
Get on and invest in the business itself right now to sort out the depot facilities, to do things about the uniform and so on, just to make things better for the staff, because they've had a pretty tough time. But passengers as well have had a really tough time. So we're going to just focus on the operating basics, reduce cancellations, Sunday working, just running trains on time. That's what we're going to do to start with. Simple stuff. Then in the next 100 days, we're going to look at where we want to invest in the future. We'll work with Network Rail on some of the capacity issues, put a big focus on the December 21 timetable, because we've got to restructure some things around that. And I think the North West Task Force that's been set up is absolutely the ideal kind of pan-industry group to do that. David Brown had worked really hard in very difficult circumstances, but we need a change of leadership now. Nick Donovan knows this railway well. He ran Trans-Pennine Express very successfully a few years ago. He's chairman of the National Performance Board. So his knowledge of what needs to be done on the timetable, the structure of the timetable, on basic operating stuff, he's the right person for the next stage of this company. There's 2 or 3 things out there that are going to need some work. Right now, we'll just get on with the simple basics. Running trains on time, investing in the staff and the facilities. Medium term, the stuff we can do around ticketing, both the structured tickets and how you pay for your ticket. There's obviously a big issue to sort out on industrial relations, and we'll work with the unions and we'll work with the staff on that as well. There's some capacity constraints, particularly between Piccadilly, Manchester Oxford Road and up to Salford Crescent. So you want to make best use of that capacity. So longer trains is an obvious way of doing that. I think we might look at some of the longer distance routes that go through that bottleneck and readjust some of that capacity.